All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WineShark Wednesday. Another week gone by here in the world of WineShark. I hope everybody is enjoying themselves and having a good summer. It's been hot. We cast from the pool last week. What did you cast? We recorded a video in the pool last week. Nothing so fancy this week, my friends, but I hope you all are doing well. And we are going to talk about some cool stuff today. We're going to talk about how wine is not all one thing, even when it's made from the same type of grape. We're going to be sipping on a little bit of Coppola here, a little bit of Pinot Noir to help us help the afternoon go by. I hope you guys will join us. Before we start off on topical stuff, news, what's in the news? Actually, not what's in the news. It's only minor news for us. Scheduling, that being the Friday Chilean Wine Show. The online Zoom meeting show has moved from Friday to Saturday due to business reasons. So I hope that doesn't disrupt everybody. I hope you guys can still join me on Saturday evening instead of Friday evening for a dive into Chilean wine. Free tickets are free. You can find them here on Facebook or on Facebook, wherever you, there's an event right there, and buy tickets through Eventbrite. You're not buying tickets, they're free, but it just limits the amount of people that we don't want to get too crazy with our Zoom meetings. So hopefully we have a nice little crowd and we'll dig into that. So so this little topic has been bubbling around in my mind for a while. It's been going on as kind of a sort of a championship thing for some time. And that is, a common phrase that I hear when teaching or engaging with customers afterwards is the "I don't like grape X." Insert grape here or insert grape name. I don't like Pinot Noir. I don't like Cabernet. I don't like Chardonnay. And at the base of that phrase, that's like perfectly fine. It's well within your wheelhouse. I'm like, hey, you like what you like. That is totally cool. It is not my job to tell you what you should and shouldn't like. That is not my role in the wine world at all. However, it's when it comes along with a qualifying statement that I know to be not in line with commonly held wine style guides that it starts to perk my ears up and I start to try and really listen to what the customer is saying. Not just that I don't care what the customer is saying about what they like and don't like, but it's one of those, I'm not here to change your opinion. I'm here to help educate you. So when you make a statement, so like something, let's say, I don't like Rieslings, they're too sweet. You've added this qualifier there that I know to be not necessarily true. See, Rieslings come in a wide variety of styles. Many of the common styles that are sold here in the U.S. are sweet, 'tis true. They even come in full-on dessert styles that are so sugary they'd make your Coke blush. But on the other hand, there are absolutely bone-dry, zero residual sugar Rieslings out there. There are a whole wide class of styles in that drier side of things. And so perhaps if you want to be enjoying Riesling and you don't particularly like the sweet side of things, you need to be introduced to that other half. This basically points to a gap in experience is leading to a closed-mindedness about a particular style of wine. Now, Riesling does have several worldwide styles, but really what I'm going to dive into is just the concept that despite the fact that a grape may be made, or a wine may be made from the same type of grape, that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to taste the same as a wine made from a different producer or a wine made especially from a different region in the world. Stylistically speaking, climatically speaking, what we start to see is both the winemaker's hand and the region that it's grown have a major effect on how wines can taste. Now, that's within a parameter. Mind you, it's not like one is tasting black and the other is tasting white. They're not this huge wild contrast. But there's definitely points on a line, points on a scale of the differences in the varieties and flavors. So what I want to focus on here, though, is the fact of if you're on your place in your wine journey where you're trying to expand your palate, this is not a show for the folks who are just like, woohoo, day drinking is great. You know, that's cool, and we all, you know that I'm all for it. But on the flip side, this isn't about just saying what wine. You know, I only want things that are in my profile. This is about when you're like, okay, broaden my horizons. Show me some weird new stuff. Show me some stuff that maybe I didn't like before that I might try again. Because I'll tell you, many times after classes, especially wine and food pairing classes, but even when I'm doing just basic wine tastings, I get comments all the time from people who are like, hey, I I don't really generally drink white wine, but I really love, XYZ wine that we had that evening, or even all the white wines we had this evening. Because their preconception of what white wine would be to them, the ones that they've encountered, decided they didn't like, and therefore shut off their exploration, has limited their experiences. And so I'm here to encourage you to keep that open. I think that in your wine journey, the key mindset to have has got to be expanding your wine world and understanding that you have a willingness to try, and this is the one that really diverts most people, a willingness to risk disappointment. That willingness to risk disappointment is, I think, one of the big barriers to entry when it comes to people trying new wines. At least when we're at the grocery store and or liquor store and or wine store. Okay, I've had conversations with Two Penny Beer about this in the past, about the differences between beer and wine. One of the great things about beer is that you've got a very low price of entry. You can get mixed 6-packs, so basically a single bottle of a particular type of beer, and you can try a mixed 6 for something like $15. That's 6 different types of things that if you didn't like one, if you got something that you tried and went, ugh, this is awful, 7 off for me, no big deal, right? The skin off your nose and the lost money that's on that is not a big deal. Whereas in the wine world, and we're talking about craft beers here too, when they're in that wine world and you're playing at that same level, you're usually in the $20 to $30 range when you're talking about well-crafted wines. That's a risk that a lot of people aren't willing to take to be disappointed. So that's something that I want you guys to keep in mind, is that you have to get over that risk averseness. Now, of course, there are many methods to try wines without buying whole bottles. Not limited to, of course, the retail world, out and trying wines by the glass out in public, going to specific places that cater to wine drinkers and can let you try stuff before you buy. There's a lot of options out there. So I'm not even going to get into that right now, but I just want to say this is about that piece of your wine journey. So the example this is going to tie into today's example, because Pinot Noir is one of the most common examples that I use in discussing this topic. And our wine today happens to be a Pinot Noir, this one in particular from California. But there are at least 4 distinct and popular styles that are from different parts of the world when it comes to Pinot Noir. The iconic wines of France, i.e. Burgundy, there's California, there's there's Oregon, and then there's New Zealand. And those 4 big areas definitely have their own kind of claims to fame in how they do things. You can subdivide each one of those into even smaller groups should you desire, but broadly speaking, we're talking about, 4 broad styles and varied and subtly different styles of wine. They're all red wines. They all fall into a certain range of flavor bands. But man, when it comes to the details, there's so much nuance and so much to be explored that if you say, I don't like Pinot Noirs, I've had this, I would ask, okay, well, which Pinot Noirs have you had? What were the things that disappointed you? Because knowing that baseline might help you explore other things. And remember, this is not me evangelizing over particular styles of wine or trying to get you to like your Brussels sprouts when you don't like Brussels sprouts. This is when you come to me and go, look, everybody goes nuts about Pinot Noir, and everybody tells me it's the greatest thing in the world. Why do we not get along? And that's where I go, okay, so let's find out where your problem spots are, where you dislike it, and let's figure out how to either avoid those things, or maybe it's true, maybe Pinot Noir is just not a varietal that you're ever going to really adopt. And that's okay too, right? Again, this is all about that learning and education. So we're going to move right on with that, straight into the grocery store grab, because the grocery store grab is our explanation, or is our example for today. So for those not familiar with the premise, the grocery store grab is where we try to get the best value per dollar for wines found at non-specialty and non-big box retailers. Not everybody has access to a nice, clicky, boutiquey, awesome, cool wine store. Many of us don't always shop at big box retailer stores like, say, Total Wine or Goody Goody or Siegel's or Specs or something like that, or whatever your local equivalent might be. So out of convenience and necessity, many of us shop at the grocery store when it comes to buying our day-to-day wines. And when that gets said, you're in the land of not a lot of help. You really have to rely on what you can see on the label. So the grocery store grab is always focused on the labeling of our wine and how wineries do a good or bad job at describing what's in the bottle in common non-wine person terms. You can have both, but you got to have the baseline. You got to be able to talk the layman's language, as it were. So these are chosen without prior research, and they're based on the label only. So today's label focus was a name I was familiar with, but a particular varietal I had not had from them before, and actually caught my attention because they've been in the wine news recently as having been purchased by a larger wine conglomerate, and that is the wines of Francis Ford Coppola. Coppola produces some reasonable juice, from very high-end stuff down to, this is their Diamond Collection Pinot Noir. Diamond Collection is their second label, if you will, as opposed to their director's cuts and their full premium lines, their flagship lines. Notice, of course, they use a fancy name when they talk about it. It's the Diamond Collection, right? We're definitely, sounds like you've already upgraded past 3 other layers of passengers, and now you get 2 extra, things of pretzels in your chair or something. But anyway, we're going to talk about this wine just a bit. So let's take a look at the label from the front. This is just, as usual, the basic pulled from their website. This is their iconic Pinot Noir label. This is the Diamond Collection. You'll notice that it's easy to spot from both the diamond-shaped logo, and it says right on the front, nice foil bit on here. Very elegant style of labeling that they tend to use. But on the back of the label, this is what caught my attention, and this is the reason that it earned a shot on the show. Although they're going to get immediate minuses from me for using a typeface that is all capitals. So please don't do that. We have cases for a reason. Damn it, the typographer once in me said. Dramatic style, vibrant packaging. Oh, look, it's vibrant packaging too. And fruit forward, smooth wines are the signature of Francis Coppola Diamond Collection. Our Pinot Noir boasts a silky texture and dazzling perfume of crushed raspberries, rose petals, and tea leaves, followed by a luscious flavor of plums, strawberries, and spice. Pairs perfectly with pork tenderloin or mushroom risotto. Learn more about our wines at francisfordcoppola.com. All right, so when it comes to the things that I want to know, who makes it? Francis Ford Coppola. What grape is it? It's Pinot Noir. Where is it grown? It basically doesn't say on the front. It doesn't necessarily say on the back really either. They're not really big on locality. Now, of course, they do say bottled made in Geyser, California, which is a Northern California winery. But they're basically really unfocused on regionality on this. So that's a slight ding against them, because I'd like to know a little bit more about where exactly these grapes are grown. On the flip side, they really excelled. I mean, they only had 1 sentence of their marketing text, and the rest is devoted to the things we care about. Flavor words, specific pairings. This definitely bumps up the total score that I would use for this. I mean, I would give these guys maybe like an A- or a B+ when it comes to their labeling. Although maybe I should take off half a point for their typography. But yeah, plums, strawberries, and spice is the finish. But we have a bunch of flavor words here, right? We've talked about it's got a silky texture, that's a little putting the cart ahead of the horse, but dazzling perfume of crushed raspberries, rose petals, and tea leaves. 3 specific, easily understandable aromatic profiles, followed by luscious flavors of plums, strawberries, and spice. 3 flavor words once it's on your palate. So rock on. And then, of course, by recommending pork tenderloin and mushroom risotto, those are at least reasonably specific, especially for the back of a wine label. That's a reasonably specific thing to throw out there. So let's give it a go. By the way, price point on this bad boy is $20 retail. It sold at $14 after the store discount, which is basically saying that this is a $14 bottle of wine. I believe they advertise it on their website as a $21 MSRP. So this is what we should be looking at for a $20 bottle of wine that has high production value, a lot of good distribution, and therefore gets the benefits of pricing on scale. And that's why it sits at that $14 range, right? All right, coloration wise, by the way, when I poured this, looks perfectly on point for Pinot Noir. It's got that beautiful light garnet to cranberry kind of color. It definitely does have some perfume on the nose going on. It is all jumped up out of the glass. I like their crushed raspberry analogy. That sounds delightful. And I think this is that weird part about being influenced by the label sometimes, about wanting to fulfill your own, being self-fulfilling. I get the tea thing that they're talking about, the tea leaves and that kind of, there's a mustiness to it. It's not quite all the way level to of full-tilled soil / mushrooms and real earthy, but there's an herbaceousness that lays right underneath the fruit forwardness that comes off of the nose of this wine. It's quite delightful. I really like it. So far, I'm impressed. And again, I've had their wines before. I'm not expecting to have them as a producer. They would have to work hard. They would have to work hard here to screw this up. So it's really on them to basically go, hey, look, we punch our weight on our nondescript Pinot Noir, mystery Pinot Noir. Oh yeah. Yes. More of that red fruit flavor. I would go even more intense than raspberry. It's very much that raspberry jam, plum jam, really good concentrated fruit flavor there. And it is very much on that smooth side. Although it doesn't have that malolactic finish, it doesn't have that really velvety glove, mouth-rounded tannin thing. The tannins and the fruit are very well balanced and in check. Pardon me. And it's right here in the middle of the center of your mouth. Really not very grippy at all, which is what we would hope for. Again, it doesn't come out with any, there's not a lot of layers to it though. It doesn't have a really complicated. Now, it's not really not a lot of complication. Hits that fruit note, hits that little bit of savory in there, and then the finish kind of finishes off on that black cherry or kind of. I think that's that tea. I think that's that tea influencing the red fruit again. Maybe not so far as to be like as dark as a dark cherry, but definitely in that range. So. So the questions we want to answer here, is it well executed? Absolutely. Coppola, I was expecting them to be able to do well. They certainly have. They've got a good degree of fruit extraction in here, so that you feel like this. This wine. Again, it doesn't really have a sense of place. Although I'm not rating this wine to be like that. It's that part where we wouldn't know anyway. But it does say California Vineyards in the inside the logo. It just doesn't tell us where. So maybe that's enough, right? Maybe I should have been looking deep inside the diamond there where it says California Vineyards to know that this is just a California generic or a widely AVA sourced wine. Still, it is definitely well executed. Is it on style? Yeah, for California Pinot Noir, this is pretty bog standard as the phrasing goes. Well, I don't know what's standard about bogs. Is every bog pretty much got to live up to a specific size, moistness level? I don't know why that phrase is a phrase. But anyway, but yes, very standard. I would call this, a great example of, you could identify this as California based on some of its, by the way the fruit presents, and by the way that it has a lack of anything really soil growing on. It's not high acid and pingy like I might expect out of something from Oregon or New Zealand. So at this price point, this level, it's absolutely on style. And is it worth the price tag? For $14? Yeah, actually, this is a great in that price range, I would say, from a Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is one of those tricky grapes where if you really want to get all the thing that everybody gets excited about, you do have to spend a little bit more coin. Put up there with I would definitely recommend some things that are more in the $40 range to really explore what Pinot Noir gets people nutty about. But when we're talking about just your weekly drinking average, you don't want to think too hard about the wine. This is a great example at $15. I would absolutely buy this again. And once again, what it does is it holds up the brand name that Coppola has spent their time building. Let us hope that with their recent sale, that sort of wonderful quality is maintained. I'm always dubious about the buy-ups, simply out of the fact of it's, we don't know what goes on at the ground level sometimes and some of the decisions that get made. So hopefully they will continue to do such thing. So anyway, said anybody got anything Q&A in chat? I don't see anybody hanging out in chat today, so not a big deal. Again, maybe everybody got mad at me when I was in the pool last week and didn't show up to chat. So coming soon in the world of WineShark, As I said, we're moving from Friday to Saturday. So Saturday will be Wines of Chile. Free tickets are still available. Get them in there. There are suggestions in Eventbrite about what I'll be drinking, but you can bring any Chilean bottle of wine you want. Bring a single one. You don't have to buy all three that I'm drinking. We're gonna explore. We're gonna go deep dive, and it'll be a lot of fun to share around the room what everybody's got. That's the reason I think that the Zoom format benefits us, is that we can all be on our own couches and don't have to get out in the heat. Because Texas here, it's getting miserable. And more importantly, it allows us to get multiple bottles of wine into the show, not just the ones that yours truly has decided on. And then on August 8th, a live show, it might be our last one, we don't know yet, down at the Reunion Tower. We're doing our Summer Splash Part 2, and that is Wine Fit for the Grill. So come down and visit with me on a Sunday evening, and we'll do from 5 to 7. We'll have some tasty food bites, some awesome wines that you can take home, and there will be absolutely great partners for that charcoal, wood smoke, or propane-powered beast in your backyard. And it'll be a wonderful time to hang out with us and just enjoy the views over downtown Dallas. So, get your comments in after the fact down in the comments section. Love to see your comments. Always looking for suggestions for topics that you guys want to see. I read every comment, but there's not a ton of traffic there yet. Please give me your commentary and let me know what you're interested in. Do you have a grape nemesis, the grape that you just don't like? What is it, or what was it? Did you have it once and get over it? Did you find an example that was better? Do let me know down in the comments. If you like what we're doing, like and subscribe, share with a wine-loving friend. And if you really like what we're doing, come check us out on Patreon. You get special benefits, extra things like all of the Zoom meetings that are recorded. There's an archive of deep dive wine knowledge there. You get special recipes, discounts for, and pre-sold tickets for live events, and of course a VIP treatment as well when it comes there. There's actual VIP stuff that goes along with being a Patreon, so join us over there. And anyway, until next time, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed everything, and I have been your Wine Shark. Cheers. Man, that's good. I'm very impressed. We're gonna give Coppola a call. Tell him, I approve.